Well, we finally made it home from New Zealand and Australia. Quite the journey. Lots of cool people we met along the way, and I wanted to give a shout out to those people who went way out of their way to meet us. Didn't get to meet a whole lot of people, but the ones that we did, it was just so awesome and such a blessing and honor that you guys went through the trouble you did to make this trip what it was. So thank you very much, Ken, Rasa, Trevor, Norma. You guys know who you are. It was so cool to see you, and you really did go out of your way to make this trip worth it. It was something I looked forward to for many months, was just meeting some of you all in person, and it's something I've never done before, going to another country and meeting people like that I had only known on the internet. So definitely something unique, and I would like to do that in the future. Anytime I go somewhere, is let you guys know and hopefully find some of you, and also do some more local hangouts, things around here, because I'm finding out many of you actually live around here, and we need to meet up and unite a lot more. But definitely this trip was not what I expected. New Zealand was far better than I thought it would be, and Australia was definitely the opposite of what I expected. I expected, sort of a dry desert climate with lots of wild bugs and things trying to eat me and kill me. And I don't think I really saw any spiders while I was there, or anything venomous whatsoever. We did get to go to the little crocodile, I guess you would call it, like exhibit or zoo. I don't know what they call it, but they had lots of wildlife there, and we got to see koalas, the typical things, wallabies, kangaroos. Got to pet those things. Those things are so cool. You get to pet them and feed them, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed doing that. But before I left New Zealand, that was the last time I had talked to you all, and I had looked at the orientation of the moon compared to back home. Well, I was filming the moon my last night there around 10:30 or so, maybe 11, and looking at it, just kind of watching it above the water. It was lighting up the water. It was just beautiful, and I took some pictures of it as well. But the next morning, we left early in the morning. We had to get up at like 3, go to the car rental place, return our car, go to the airport. And we finally got on the plane, and we were up in the air. We were just about to reach, cruising altitude, when my wife said, "Look at the moon." And I assumed it was far gone by now, but you can see the moon from the plane window. So I zoomed in on it with my camera. Couldn't focus on it because the windows, the way they were, you just couldn't focus on it. It kept trying to focus on the windows. And so I took a picture of it and noticed that it had turned quite a bit, changed its angle from what it was, of course, when I looked at it, which makes sense somewhat, because on a globe, if you look at how the model works, they have the moon rotating around the earth, one exact rotation every time it makes its way one lap around the earth. That's why we always see the same side of the moon. That's what we're told. And so if you could imagine yourself standing and looking at the horizon to the east, where the moon would be rising, you would see the moon in an upright position, whatever position that would be to you based on your location. And if you were to now imagine yourself turned around and watching it set, it would of course be upside down as it goes over the horizon. So the part of the moon that came up would be the part of the moon that's actually setting over the horizon, like you see here in this picture. Well, the orientation that I saw was really weird. So from 10:30 p.m. to about 7 a.m., that's what happened to the moon. It should have been upside down going toward the horizon, but it wasn't. So I don't understand how that works. Seems like to me when it was on its way down to set, it should have been straight upside down. But maybe my elevation, slight change in location, which wasn't a very big change. We were still really near to New Zealand. We were flying out of Auckland. But just interesting observations. I'm not saying that proves anything. I just thought that was strange, to say the least. But then we went to Australia, and I wasn't able to capture anything outside of some animals that we got to see. But the last thing I filmed on a plane that was pretty cool was the sun. And I had to film from the far side of the plane. I kept getting the raw end of the deal with seating. Hardly ever did I get a window seat. I think once I had a window seat temporarily, and this was one of those times where I was on the far side and the sun was on the other side, so I had to zoom past somebody's face. They were getting annoyed by me, but I kept filming. I think they thought I was filming them. I considered making some some statements like, "You're looking good, you know, keep it up," but didn't want to mess with them. They were trying to sleep. But here's the sun, and you can see the distortions caused from the atmosphere. This thing morphs. It looks like an atomic bomb going off at one point, but it was just really cool to see it from that elevation as it was rising. So I missed it when it was first rising, but I definitely got it right after we could see it when it was coming into view. Really magnified, looked gigantic, but it just changed its shape so many times. It became flat, sort of what do they call it, oblate. Right here it looks like a little mushroom or an atomic bomb going off. Operation Fishbowl going on right in front of our eyes. So just really cool footage. Sorry it's so shaky. We were hitting all sorts of turbulence. I'm telling you, that plane did not move until I started filming the sun, and then it felt like we were going down a gravel road. It was pretty crazy. But filmed it as it was morphing into its final shape before it became that round circular sun that we're used to seeing. But the long journey home was quite a bit longer than I thought. We went from Cairns to Brisbane, Brisbane to Auckland, Auckland to Los Angeles, and then Los Angeles to Nashville, and then we took the easy way home. We drove. We no longer were flying. We got in our van and made the trip back home to Georgia. So a little jet lagged for the first time ever. I never knew that was really a thing. I thought people were just being sissies, but we are way off schedule. And the funny thing about Australia and New Zealand is we were actually on schedule, and I am not a morning person, but for the first time in my life, and my family is the same way, none of us are morning people. We were awake when the sun came up, wide awake, and we went to bed early. So I was actually a normal person for once. It was kind of cool. And then now that we're home, of course, I could not sleep. Stayed up. My daughter couldn't fall asleep. None of us could fall asleep. I kind of took a little power nap at around 5:30 in the morning or 6 and tried to sleep. And then I thought, you know what, I'll get up and do this video because I can't quit thinking and my mind's going 100 miles per hour. So I wanted to just give you guys a quick update. I'll be back with another video on something that I think is really interesting here pretty soon. But I just wanted to let you all know that we made it home safely. And some of you will be happy to hear that. Some of you not so happy. That's okay. We still love you. And we'll be back soon. And again, I want to say thank you to those who have supported this trip. It was quite pricey, as you can imagine. And it really helped us out a lot. You guys are a huge blessing. And as always, you are a beloved creation of the Most High. Make sure you're sharing some love with people. If you're having a hard time, let's all unite. Pray for the same cause. We're all here fighting the same fight, the same powers. We need to unite so that we can destroy these powers like they deserve. So, thanks again. You guys are awesome. God bless.